Hey, well, this is episode 1 of the Best Day of Your Life podcast, starring myself. My name is Susannah Sprague. This is episode 1. So just digging in, really getting to know me. So I thought I'd spend the first episode, our first time together, giving you a little bit of background so you know who I am, what I'm about, where I've been. And it gives you a little understanding of like who I am and why I believe the things I believe, or why I fight for the things I fight for, or why I even care about what I care about. And I think that really does require a backstory. So, I'm not going to go into my whole life story, but just to give you some understanding of who I am. And my hope is that you will find something that resonates with you. You'll find something that interests you, whether you have experienced some of my experiences or feel some of my feelings. I like to really connect through shared experiences or shared, feelings or emotions or traumas or, I think as a collective, the human race really, we need to feel that connection to someone else to build a trust and to really feel connected. And my hope by the end of this hour is that you'll know me better, have a better understanding of who I am and what I'm about, and we can start to build a relationship and you can start to trust me, and we got to start from somewhere. So here we go. So first of all, this show came about in a very, stars are aligned, like who you know kind of thing. And this is being produced by Lux Media. And my friend Candace, this is her company. She produces all kinds of entertainment, whether it's filmed or podcasts. She's a total boss, badass, like super awesome. And she approached me a couple weeks ago after building this beautiful studio, putting it all together. She's looking for, premium content, people that are, build this lovely foundation of the kind of things she wants to put out, the kinds of things that she wants to produce, under the Lux Media brand. And she approached me a couple weeks ago and asked me if I'd be interested. She thought, hey, I think you might make a good podcast. And I had to agree with her. I really did, without sounding, totally egotistical, not coming from that place at all, but just like, yeah, I think that'd be great. I think I'd make a great podcast. I don't know. We'll see. We're on episode 1. So, but yeah, so she reached out to me and we had a conversation about the kinds of things she produces and where she's at and what her whole purpose and mission is with this media company, and what I'm about fits in that. And, so here we are. So thank you, Candace, for the opportunity. I'm super grateful. And what a great place. We're filming this and recording this in Beverly Hills, right off Rodeo Drive. So, there's a little bit of fanciness, that comes with it. It's lovely. Absolutely lovely. So I think sometimes I'll come down here in the studio and film, and sometimes I'll do it from home via Zoom. I guess that'll just depend. And I hope to have some really interesting guests, people I've already thought of, like 20 people that I can think of off the top of my head. I've been asked to do their podcast or their thing or whatever. And it's going to be time for them to repay me and, come and do my show now that I have a show, which is also, kind of a weird thing to say. I have a show and here it is and we're doing it, and it's one of those bucket list things. It's one of those like, oh, I see other people doing it. Could I do it? And old me would have gotten totally in the way of saying yes. Old me would have questioned whether or not I'm good enough, worthy enough, interesting enough. Like, who wants to listen to me talk for an hour? I would have gotten enough excuses to sway me from saying yes when she asked. I just think that the way things are going in my life and where I've been, I've released a lot of, traumas and limiting decisions and beliefs around myself and things like that. So the timing is perfect. Like I said a little bit ago, like the stars were aligned, and I was already kind of putting this energy out in my life to, I had started recording some things. I went to school and became a hypnotherapist, and I started doing some, just at home, very amateur, really basic recordings on my computer at home. And I bought a nice little, microphone, and nothing is, legit as this setup with lights and really good headphones and all of that, but enough, right, to do an at-home thing. Just for my clients and to listen to hypnosis with various things that they come to me for. So I was already kind of like in that mode of recording and putting my voice, out there. And so it's, to me, I don't believe in coincidences. I think that just doesn't exist. So when someone like Candace calls me out of the blue, it was actually not, so I was looking at her Instagram, and she was promoting her new space, and she was really excited. And she was saying like, doing podcasts and different things that they offer here in the studio space. And I just saw it on her Instagram story. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I ever could do a podcast. Just a thought. I didn't say anything. I didn't text anyone. I didn't reply to her story. And it was like, I don't know, 15 minutes after that, she called me and asked me if I wanted to do a podcast. So, call it what you want. To me, that seems like timing, and that seems like a created space for things to unfold naturally. And I have found in my life that the things that are meant to be just unfold. They're organic. They don't take a lot of pushing or pulling or manipulating. They just unfold. So here we are in the unfolded, timeline of my life. And you're joining me on episode 1 of the Best Day of Your Life podcast. That could be a working title. I'll be honest. This is episode 1. I really like that title. I like the music that I had in mind when I thought of the title, but I'm open. Maybe I'll wake up in the middle of the night, 2 months from now and be like, no, I've got a new title. I might change it. I don't know. I would like to stay, consistent and congruent, but we'll just see. We'll just see. So that's how this happened. And this beautiful space I'm in, that's an explanation as to why I'm here. And it's done so beautifully, and I'm lit nicely, and you can hear me clearly. And there's, audio, video to go with the audio. And once I get in the hang of this, I'm very excited, but I can't wait to see what I come up with. Honestly, I have a lot to share. I have a lot to talk about. I have a lot to listen and learn. That's why thinking about people that I'd love to interview and have on the show, I've already thought of some really great people that have talents and skills and life experience. Like, I love life experience. There's no better teacher. And I know some very wise people that have been through some stuff, just challenges and traumas and upheavals, and yet have managed to not only survive them, not only overcome them, but thrive and grow and evolve into these incredible humans as a result of, evolve as incredible humans as a result of. So I want this podcast and what I put out, like, I don't want to just, I don't want to just create and just put out nonsense. The world is full of that already. So I have faith in myself that I won't just put out nonsense, that I'll put out, premium content, things that you want to hear about, things you want to learn about, perspectives that maybe change your mind, or at least get you to stop in your train of thought and think, there might be another way to look at this life thing. And that's my hope. That's my goal. My mission here is to provide premium content, interesting people, things that you can learn, because I want to learn. That's the other thing for me is I just remain teachable. And life is so much more rich and beautiful and fulfilling when there's room to grow and room to learn. And I have a lot of room, a lot of room to learn. I do not know. That's the beauty of it all, is I don't know everything. There's a lot that I don't know even. So I like to fill my life and my space and my consciousness with people who can enhance and give me more information, give me a new way of looking at something. A shift in perspective is a miracle, right? You can do incredible things with a shift in perspective. And so I like to surround myself with people that are, and they don't even have to be like-minded. We don't have to agree on everything, but just come from a place of life experience. To me, I value what that is, because I have my own. And when I see it in others, I recognize it and I go, oh, this person's been through some shit. This person's been through the ringer. This person has come out on the other side, and wow. And so I resonate with that, because that's also very similar to my story. So I guess that's a lovely segue into my story. So here's the background. Here's why I'm here. This is episode 1, and this is like a fireside chat in the middle of the afternoon in Beverly Hills, with me, your host, Susannah Sprague. And I'm going to, give you an idea of who I am in a nutshell in less than an hour. So, here we go. So I was born and raised in California. I had parents that met at one of the California local spots. I don't know if it's a dating spot, but it's a spot. It's called Calico Ghost Town. And if you're not familiar, the name is pretty self-explanatory. It's a ghost town, but I guess it was a place where they used to do like music festivals and things like that. So I think my parents were there for a music festival, and they met, and sparks, ignited, and they were just madly in love. And I don't think they were together very long before I came around. They never got married or anything like that. And their split, I think I was little. I was still an infant. And it was very dramatic and scary for my mom. And it ended abruptly and somewhat violently, and, like I said, dramatic. So I have parents that never got married, and they split up and shared custody of me, and the custody itself is a whole story, but we're not going to go into that. Just know that I had 2 parents, and my dad actually ended up with, the majority custody. So I grew up with him, and I moved all over the world. We lived in Maui for about a year and a half. I went to elementary school in Santa Cruz, which is in Northern California. He had a house in Marbella, Spain. He had places in Running Springs down here in Southern California. We kind of moved all over. And I experienced growing up in different cultures and different locations. And my home base was always California. And my mom, who I would see on the weekends, lived in Southern California. And that was pretty much my life. I'm an only child. So yeah, I'm an only child, and I'm a Gemini. So yeah, my birthday is June 7th, and I can be such an only child, and I can be such a Gemini, and those two combined, has elements of selfishness, elements of, you know, brattiness. I mean, especially as a kid, I really got away with a lot of misbehaving. And, because you're the baby, you're always the baby. So if you have siblings and you're the baby of 4, 3, or 6, the baby gets away with everything. So when you're the only one, you're always the baby. And I got away with a lot. I really did as a kid, and I was very spoiled. And in 1991, we're coming up on 30 years, and my dad was murdered. And, that I was 9. So, that was a very tough time, obviously. I didn't have anybody to really go through that with. I had people that loved me, and I had support, but I didn't feel like anybody knew exactly how I felt. They had their own loss and they had their own stuff that they went through at that time, but I really felt like I was going through my experience alone. I think had I had a sibling, we could have shared in that experience, but without someone who would have been my peer, I really felt very alone in that experience. And so that kind of, you're bouncing along and there's your timeline, and there was a fork in the road at that very moment. And I don't know what would have happened had I picked a different path, but the path I picked was one of shame, one of anger, one of hopelessness and fear and self-loathing, like all of it. I picked the path that I felt really sorry for myself. I felt like a total victim of life. And I was 9. And I went from one minute I was just a happy little, like, innocent, the world is rose-colored glasses, like it's my oyster, to like an instant adult, instantly thinking about things that I had never thought about or had to think about or consider. And so I just started building an outer shell to protect me. Because without that outer shell, people leave and people disappoint you. And like, if you have this like wall that keeps you separated from the world around you, you can just, it's a false sense, but you feel like you're in control and nothing can hurt you because you're not going to let anything in. There's no intimacy. There's no like getting to know me. So I just kind of kept everybody at a distance. And that was pretty much my life going forward. And, I went to school. I went to high school in Corona, California. And that was it was fun. I grew up, I still managed to like, enjoy myself, right? Even though I had a lot of pain on the inside. And, in high school, I had a pretty normal, average high school experience. I really liked high school. I had a lot of fun. I had friends, and my first job was at Forever 21 when it was a brand new store. Just like regular teenager stuff. I was in the band in high school. Yeah, I was. I actually played alto sax for 6 years as a kid. And I was in marching band and symphonic band. And I was, it was a way, I don't know, it was an outlet, but it seemed like a fun thing to do at first. And then it stuck and I just stayed doing it. I don't think I could play to save my life today. I could read sheet music. I don't know if I could, maybe if I had a gun to my head, I'd figure out what the notes were with the keys, but all that time spent playing it, I couldn't use it today, which is unfortunate. I wish I could. But anyway, and I started as a teenager, I was really dealing with a lot of pain and dealing with a lot of I was not dealing with a lot of pain. There was a lot of pain and I wasn't dealing with it. And a lot of confusion and just frustration with the world and feeling very slighted by life. Didn't have a connection with a power greater than myself or anything like that. My family was not religious at all. It was a little directionless in that sense. And it was fine. I didn't feel like I was missing anything. When you don't know what you don't know, you can, they say ignorance is bliss. I didn't know what it would be like to have, a faith in something or whatever. I didn't know what that would even be like. So it didn't matter that I didn't have it. I didn't know what I was missing. And so I resorted to, drugs and alcohol kind of young. I think I smoked weed for the first time when I was like 12. And that just kind of spiraled. And there were times in my teenage years where it was a problem. And there were times in my, adulthood that it was a problem. And there were times where I disappointed people and I hurt people just to get more or do more. I suffered from, addiction pretty early. I smoked cigarettes like out the gate. I loved cigarettes. Like I loved cigarettes too much. But I'm one of those I have a highly addictive personality, and I really know that about myself. If I could only get addicted to like broccoli, that'd be amazing. I do love broccoli, but I'm not addicted to it. But if it tastes good or if it feels good, I can get addicted to it easy, So if I know that about myself now, but as a kid, I didn't, and it caused a lot of problems, and I had lots of consequences, but they weren't like life-changing consequences. They were just, getting caught doing something by my parents and, getting in trouble or getting grounded or things like that. The big consequences didn't come till much, much later. And when I was like 18, 19, I met my ex-husband out here in LA. It was my 19th birthday, and I met my ex-husband who is famous. And I knew who he was when I met him. And I was underage at a nightclub in Hollywood. I won't say the name of the club. They don't exist anymore, but I don't know. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So I was there definitely underage and pretty wasted. And I met him there. And I don't think I thought at all like, oh, I'm going to marry this person and have a child and do like a life with like a picket fence and the whole like thing. That's not where I was mentally. I was 19 and I was like taking a break from high school and college. I was like, all right, I'm going to take a year after high school and I'm just going to like live my life and I'm not going to worry about grades in school. And I'm just going to take a break from school and then go into college, at like 20. That was my plan. I've had so many plans, you guys, like set out plans that it's amazing. I should write them all down, like all my plans, because none of them came true or none of them happened or unfolded the way that I, had planned in my head. I'm pretty hesitant to make plans these days. So anyway, that plan of going to college at 20 didn't happen because that person that I met and I fell in love and we like got engaged and we got married and we had a child together. And we were together 8 years and, we did TV shows together. I actually got married on television and you can YouTube it. So go ahead for your homework between now and the next episode. Go watch it. It's funny. Hugh Hefner was at my wedding and MC Hammer and Vince Neil sang at my reception. So yeah, go watch it. It's highly entertaining. So I lived a whole life where it was, celebrity stuff, movies and red carpets and magazine photo shoots. And, I did Playboy in 2008 and had like a celebrity spread or whatever it's called. Spread's like the worst word, right? For editorial. There you go. That's what it's called. A celebrity editorial, not a celebrity spread. But it was also a celebrity spread. Anyway. So I did, I did things like that all the time for that time period. And I was young. I mean, I was just a baby. I was in my 20s. I had my son at 22. He just turned 17. And yeah, it was just, we had like the picket fence, but we also had, just a very out there crazy life. So I've met some incredible people. I've had incredible experiences, things that, your average person just doesn't have access to. And I don't mean average. I just mean like somebody who's not famous. Famous people have access to things and people that the rest of us don't. Right. So I got to do a lot of really cool things. And that marriage ended 12 years ago. Yeah. And he and I are, absolutely parenting our son, and it's amicable. It's always been pretty amicable. I mean, we don't share the same views on life. Part of the reason why we didn't stay married is because we didn't share some of the core views on life, that were hard to get past. And so after you get divorced and you try and co-parent, if you don't share some of the core values in life, there can be some bumps in the road. And so over the last 12 years, there have been some bumps, or 11 years, whatever it's been. I think it's been 12. Yeah. So, but other than some things here and there that have, we've hit a wall here, or, misunderstandings, or, total different perspectives on how to raise our son. For the most part, we've been friendly and kind to each other, and just generally stay out of each other's way and stay out of each other's business. And I really, truly believe in, doing that to the best of your ability after you've divorced, and if you share children, and just to show your children that, like, even though, as two adults, you can be mature and you can be kind. And it doesn't have to mean that you work out romantically, but you can still, just do the job of parenting, together but separate. So, my son is really well adjusted. He's very well rounded. He likes who he is. He's a good dude. I happen to really like him, not just because he's my son. I just think he's a great person. And that comes from, when we're talking about life experiences, he's had his own, and he's got a lot of wisdom for a 17-year-old. He teaches me stuff all the time. Going back to that teachability, I can be taught by anyone. Don't just age and, location on the planet, or race, or gender, or whatever, or lack of gender. Like, I can learn from anyone. And so perfect. So yeah, so that after that marriage ended, and I just was on my own for the first time since I was little. I mean, and I say little, I mean like 18. I had never lived on my own. So I hadn't dealt with any of my stuff. I hadn't dealt with any of my traumas, and I had a pretty gnarly Vicodin addiction at that point, and it was just snowballing and getting worse. And, I'm not going to say Vicodin was the only thing I did, because it wasn't. It was pretty much kind of whatever. But that was, an opiate addiction is what brought me down. That's what sped up my bottom, for sure. And about 9 months after that, I got into some serious trouble and spent a night in jail, and had to deal with like a court case and like, possession charges and all kinds of stuff, stuff I had never really dealt with. I'd never been exposed to before. And I had a pending, custody battle and all kinds of stuff. And at the very beginning of the divorce, it was not friendly, and we did not play nice. So it was actually pretty scary, because I thought, wow, there's a chance here that I could lose custody of my son. So for me, that was enough. And I got myself, sober. I went to treatment, and I joined a fellowship I'm still a member of. And coming up, I don't I don't exactly know when this is going to air, but is September 13th, I'll have 11 years of sobriety. So that's part of my story. That's part of who I am as well. And one of the amazing gifts that have come out of sobriety for me is not only the, like the getting my life together part, because that's pretty huge. I couldn't hold a job, and my friends were, kind of at their wits end with me, and I had kind of run through most of the people in my life, and I was really just spiraling, just in a selfish little spiral that was very destructive. Excuse me. So after getting sober, I put my life together, like little tiny rock by rock by rock by brick by brick, and over time, really behaved in very different ways and thought of myself in very different ways and showed up for my life and other people's lives in a very different way. And that's incredible. But one of the, amazing things that's happened, through just being in that fellowship and that world and that whole lifestyle, is I met my husband. And, so we both share sobriety, and we share, faith, and we share gratitude and meditation and all the stuff that is promoted by that fellowship. And it's incorporated in our home. And he has a daughter, and we've got this little, this very cute little Brady Bunch thing that we've thrown together. And, we've been together 7 years, coming up on 8. And it's easy. Of course we've had our challenges, but I have the life experience of what it was like to be married when you're really young and you have no idea who you are. I have that experience. I also have the experience of getting married in your 30s and having a much better idea of who you are and what you're about and what you like and what you don't like. And I mean, I have a voice today that I just never handed over the microphone to. I just didn't. I didn't listen to my voice. I didn't listen to my intuition as a 20-year-old. I don't even know if I could have heard it, let alone listen to it. But I just wasn't in tune with my body, what it needed. I wasn't in tune with my heart. I was still really immature. I just thought in the moment. I didn't think about consequences and things like that, or cause and effect. So to get remarried after spending some time not being married and really doing a lot of work, a ton of work, like an upheaval of my soul, and just lay myself bare and just, go through resentments and traumas and stuff that was out of my control and stuff that was absolutely my fault, and everything in between, and really sifting through that and looking at, what's mine, what do I own, and where do I need to make amends, and where do I need to, make reparations, and, really start to build a new life, a better life for myself. And doing that with a partner who has also done that. So I think he's got 15 years of sobriety. And so he had some time already working on himself before I met him. And I gotta express this. I hear that the dating world is really crazy and that it's kind of sucky. And that especially, I don't even know how people are dating during a pandemic. I can only imagine how the layers of weirdness that must come up now, especially now. So I'm really grateful I don't have to, go through any of that. But I gotta say that, timing is everything, where you're at in your life. And when you bounce into someone else, it really matters where they are in their life. And my husband and I are really similar in the perfect ways. And then there are things that we don't agree on, or that it's not a lot, but there's some things we don't agree on. And the way we approach disagreements, we really act like adults, and we really respect each other's opinions. Even if at first it's doesn't feel that way, we always find our way home. And we have, things that we've implemented from day one, and, and never leave a phone conversation or the house without saying I love you. We never go to bed mad. We don't call each other names. We don't ever say like F you or I hate you or any of that stuff. That's off limits. Because some of those things can be so corrosive, even to the best relationship. You tell someone I hate you, it sticks, even if you don't mean it. It's almost worse if you don't mean it. And then you're just saying it. The words have a lot of power. So, yeah. So that's kind of, a little bit of my life in a nutshell and where I'm at now. And I have, two incredible kids. One of them I gave birth to and the other one I didn't. But, being a step parent also is another gift of my life that I never, I didn't plan on. But I have an incredible stepdaughter. She's another person that I really, really like. So I've built a life of people that I really enjoy being around. And I don't really have time and space for somebody who isn't, at least at my level of consciousness. And that provides a very, just an okay, like a pretty even, like it's pretty even most of the time. I don't have a lot of peaks and valleys in my life these days. Like I have great things, but I don't go on a roller coaster about it. I like to stay balanced and even. And one of the ways I do that is I meditate, I move my body, I feed myself well, I drink a lot of water, pretty much only drink water. Today I'm drinking some carbon-based water, which is actually very interesting. It's black. The color is black. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I nourish my body. I nourish my spirit, and it keeps my cup full. So when I show up in a friendship or in my marriage or as a mom or as a daughter or, as a coach or whatever I do, I'm showing up with a full cup. I make sure that after I've given, because I give a lot of energy or I give a lot of love, I always fill my cup back up, with the things that bring me joy and bring me peace. And so that's taken a lot of practice, So I have the experience of, I've had so many experiences, but I have the experience of loss. I know what that's like. So when you experience loss, what you do after is what really builds character. And you really, really, for me, I really learned how to appreciate what I have. Even if it's not meant to stay forever, while I have it, I do my damnedest to appreciate it. Tell people that you love them. You got to tell people what you're thinking. They can't read your mind. As much as they might want to or try to, people can't read your mind. You have to tell them what they mean to you. You have to tell them that they're important. You have to tell them that you love them. There's no other way that they would know. Yes, actions speak louder than words, but sometimes the words of, hey, you matter to me, you're important to me, my life is better because of you, goes a long way. I mean, the actions have to follow, of course, but the words are very important. So I've learned that letting people know what they mean to you is important, and valuing people's time and energy that they put into your life is important, and having respect for that time that people have given you, or that energy that they've given you, so that's the other thing about life, is all of it can be gone tomorrow. And really living in the moment and really being present and grateful for the moment, what I have, where I've been. I'm so grateful for where I've been. I've been through some gnarly stuff. I've been through very humbling, challenging time periods, events, but I'm grateful for all of it. There's not a single thing I would change. There's no regret. even the mistakes, especially the mistakes, I don't regret them. I don't carry around shame for things that I wish I wouldn't have done. I know there's things that if I could go back knowing what I know and being who I am today, if I could just inhabit the body that made the mistake, yeah, I would like to have chosen a different choice or a different path. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the decisions that I did make, right or wrong, led me to where I am today. And I love where I am today. I mean, quite literally, I'm sitting in a very comfortable chair in front of a microphone in a lovely space in a beautiful town. I'm happy, I'm healthy. Like, I love where I am. I absolutely do. And all the choices and turns and twists and everything that my life has taken have led me to here. And I wouldn't change them. Even having my dad still be alive. I don't want him to still be alive, honestly, because it would have changed the entire story. And it probably, I don't know, who knows what kind of story it would have been, but it wouldn't have been this story. And I love this story. I love this life that I have, everything I've seen and experienced. It's not like who I am, but it is my story, and I, as disassociated as I can get from the story of it, it's still mine, and I appreciate all of it. So part of the reason why I wanted to let me adjust here for a second. Part of the reason why I wanted to name this podcast The Best Day of My Life, because getting into that present experience, being in the moment, being in today, and knowing that every time you open your eyes, you have the opportunity and the choice of what you want to do with your day. And it could be the best day of the week, or it could be the best day of the year or the week, the month. And, it's really up to you. And let's say today, Monday, is the best day of my life, or just the best day of the week. And then I wake up tomorrow. I can make tomorrow better than today if I want. It's a matter of my perspective. It's a matter of my position and how I'm looking at my life. Do I wake up and immediately think of, because I have the choice. I can wake up and immediately look at my life and think, oh, there's this wrong. There's, something's not enough over there. I don't have enough of this. Because all those thoughts can come bubbling up to the surface, right as you, start to open your eyes in the morning. Or I can choose to look at all the good and look at what I have versus what I don't have, and look at the abundance around me and focus on the abundance and not the lack. And when I start my day from a place of my life is awesome and I have everything I need, all of my needs are met, and I have an abundance of love and joy and health and family and money and food and like all the things that I have an abundance of them. So when I go out into the world, and that's my perspective and that's my position, even when things are like, I don't know, things go wrong or something doesn't go as planned, or even if something like goes wrong, okay, I still have a great life. I'm still very centered and I feel purposeful and all of that. So things can go wrong. I'll give you a really good example of things going wrong and choosing to look at the abundance and the gratitude instead. So I just recently went on vacation with my husband and my stepdaughter. The vacation was planned. Again, that word, like, stop making plans. Ugh. I planned this incredible week-long vacation with my husband, my son, his best friend, my stepdaughter, her friend, and it was going to be a big group of us, and we were going to go down to Cancun, and we picked a hotel that was like lots of fun and party atmosphere and stuff for the, teenagers to do. And we're going to go to Chichen Itza, which is the pyramids, the Mayan pyramids, and, just all kinds of adventurous stuff. And I had I'd been looking forward to this vacation for so long. And I was really married to the outcome. I mean, I was married to things that hadn't even happened yet. I was like, yep, I'm going to do this and we're going to do that. And it's going to look like this. And my kids are going to think I'm the best mom ever. And, I had a whole story. And then life happened as it does. And my son got really sick and couldn't go. He couldn't go, so his friend couldn't go. And then my stepdaughter's friend couldn't go. She had some trouble with her passport. And for a couple of days, and I say days as plural, like multiple days before we left, I was in like trying to manage and control it and trying to fix it and trying to like manipulate an outcome, because I was like so holding on to the outcome and what it would mean and all of that and like whatever. And it was really a fantasy. If you think about it, like anything that you imagine in your mind is a fantasy. I was full blown, had a fantasy of like how fun it would be and the family and the big group and how much fun the boys would have and how much fun the girls would have. And like, and the fact that my husband and I could go and do some family stuff, but then go and do some romantic stuff and, the whole thing. Well, that's not what happened. So we ended up going, just my husband and my stepdaughter. And like I said, the couple of days leading up to leaving, I was like manic. I was hard to be around. Let's just be honest. You can ask my husband. I was hard to be around just because I was so upset that I couldn't control it. And I had to, because I'm going anyway. I had to pull out of my experience. Like, just like, wait a minute, hold on, just stop and switch my perspective. I had to, like I was forced to, because I'm not going to go to Cancun and complain or be miserable or be sad or be bummed or be angry or any of those things or disappointed. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful country with beautiful people, and like the water and just all of it is just incredible. Not the place to be disappointed and bummed out, right? So I had to make that decision, and it's a decision. Thank you. It's a decision. It's a decision to switch your perspective. It's a decision to switch your focus from the lack and what's not right and what's gone wrong and what they said and how, all the stuff that's like on the outside that you can't control. And if things aren't going well, you switch that perspective to, let me focus and let me think about on purpose, what's going well? What do I like? How do I, what are all the things I do have? And it melts, whatever kind of iciness, resentment or discomfort starts to build up in your body, man, it just melted away. And I was able to enjoy myself. I was able to be easier to be around, because other people in my life, if I'm uncomfortable, people notice. I'm not good at hiding my emotions. So if I'm happy, I'm happy, and it. And if I'm uncomfortable, it's kind of on the outside, like you'll see it. I don't need to hide anymore, kind of anything anymore, right? So I'm very okay with who I am, and I'm very okay with the emotions and the ranges that I feel, and I'm not ashamed of, crying or feeling sad or whatever. I process those emotions. So that's a very real, just happened experience in my life where I needed to pull out and look at my life from more of a bird's eye view and not so in it where I'm just, so upset and worried about outcomes, and pull out and look at like all the good and all the things that I have and how well things are going, and really just the gratitude of being able to be on vacation, because I know that in this time, it's not possible for everyone. The gratitude of the money that I have to be able to go on vacation, and the fact that our planet has beautiful places to go. And I mean, the list can go on. And so that's what I focused on. And I had a great time. And my son is okay. And we'll do it again, hopefully, I don't know, maybe at the end of the year, or I don't know what the world will look like by then, but we'll do a makeup vacation for him and his friend, and it's okay. And he was okay. So just that idea that our lives can take a turn, or our plans can take a turn, and it's okay. Even if you get upset at first, it's okay. And the real point is pulling out and shifting your focus to the good and the abundance and the gratitude, and really feeling that and learning, just retraining your mind to go to that quicker and quicker and quicker, and not spend so much time dwelling on what isn't right. And so every week I want to, create content here where I either have people that have, their practices on like how they, express gratitude, or, even I know a wonderful woman who she's a healer, and she can work with like your body's energy, just like, she can do it over Zoom. I mean, she's amazing, just, I want to have people, and I want to have experiences and content here where the focus is the good and the focus is the abundance in my life and in your life. And, practical ways to shift, and to really find the joy and to live in the joy, not just find it, really live it. And the things that I'm really passionate about are taking care of my body, taking care of my family, taking care of my community, taking care of the planet. I've been plant-based for 20 years. So, and that has also ebbed and flowed. There have been times where I ate meat in the middle of those 20 years. There have been times where I've had ice cream, like dairy ice cream or eggs or whatever, that's a pretty fluid thing. I'm pretty sure and pretty solid on my stance about animals and the dairy industry, and what it's doing to this planet, and the havoc it wreaks on, the human body as well. So those are some things that I'm passionate about. I love working out. I love hiking and being outdoors, meditation, going deep within. I really like going out too. I love being outside in the beach and hiking, and, tropical waters are really my favorite. But I also like going within. And it's not a scary place. It's actually very peaceful. And there's a lot of wisdom there, deep, old wisdom, if I get quiet. So, taking care of our bodies. I want to do episodes where we talk about our bodies and working out and health and physical health. But I also am really passionate about spiritual health. And I want to learn from other people how they stay spiritually fit as well. So we'll have some guests on that can show us, how they do it, and, offer some new, fresh perspectives on it. And, and family. I'm really big on family. I have an incredible family. It's totally a mix mosh of people, even the people that I call my parents. And like, I have like siblings, but they're in no way by blood or marriage or anything, but they're like brothers and sisters that I, grew up with like halfway through my childhood. So I have like all these, I have a totally thrown together family, and I love it. They're very eclectic and interesting. So I'd love to talk about family and parenting, and parenting in this weird world that we're in, now. And but I'm also sober, and I would love to talk about sobriety and spirituality in that sense. And so I really look forward to what's to come. I really look forward to the people that I'm going to have on here to share with you guys. And, this episode was getting to know me. So hopefully you just feel like you know who I am just a little bit more. And as the weeks progress, we'll dive deeper, and I'm not so afraid to let people in now. So, get to know me and, see what I'm about. And I'm really excited to share this space with all of you, and to make new friends and new acquaintances and to learn and to grow and to evolve.
Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. Elevated sense of well-being. Supports muscle strength and endurance. Cognitive function. Powerful liver support. Energy. Helps blood sugar regulation. Superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the market.